Hello, friends. The 874th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. In the Kharkiv border area, active military actions continue in the areas of Gleboki and Vovchansk. The armed forces of Ukraine are conducting operations to establish control over Gleboki, using significant forces, including mobilized and former prisoners, but at the moment no significant changes along the front line are recorded. The enemy has pulled up additional forces in Vovchansk, which I talked about in yesterday's video. Let me remind you that earlier the Ukrainian army managed to drive the enemy out of Haharina Street and push them back to Shevchenka Street, thus disrupting the plans of the Russians to break through to the aggregate plant. Today, Ukrainian experts, based on incoming footage, report that Russian troops are breaking through along the northwestern part, along the Vovcha River, to Dukhovna Street. Apparently, they are trying to get to the south in the northern part, and then resume attempts to break through to the aggregate plant. In the Bakhmut area, in the Kalinivka area, the enemy apparently managed to advance into the Orlova tract. Moreover, there are reports that the Russians are already making attempts to slip past the Siversky Donets-Donbas channel. I would like to note that the enemy has made such attempts before, but used either sabotage and reconnaissance groups for these purposes, or carried out reconnaissance in force with a minimum number of fighters. According to the information currently incoming, the Russians are already trying to attack in groups of 10 to 15 people. A Ukrainian military man with the call sign, Alex, reported gradual successes of Russia in the Torets direction, where, according to him, the Russians took several positions. He reports that Russian troops are using a lot of equipment here, trying to work on infantry fighting vehicles in the residential sector. At the same time in New York, the enemy was pushed back in the area of Zavodska Street, the military telegram channel Deep State reports in its latest map update. Today, a video appeared showing Ukrainian armed forces soldiers repelling an attack in the Lozovatsky area in the Pokrovsk direction. The armored vehicle was destroyed, but the enemy troops dismounted and continued to attack along the forest belt. Unfortunately, judging by the latest update to the Deep State map, the Russians captured this settlement. Also to the south, the Russians advanced in the area of the settlement of Prowers. Today, the Russian side published a video showing the capture of our soldiers in the northwestern part of Novoslivka Persha. Active military operations are underway in the settlement with varying success. We are monitoring the situation. Today, a number of Ukrainian media outlets, citing a source in the General Staff, write that the Ukrainian armed forces had to retreat from Yevhenii in the Berdyansk direction and Krinky in the Kherson direction. It is reported that it was impossible to hold positions in both settlements. Commenting on the loss of Yevhenii, the New York Times writes that Russia is regaining the territories recaptured by Ukraine a year ago. Yevhenii was one of the few southern villages that Ukraine liberated last summer, showing a rare success in a disappointing counteroffensive. But now these successes are gradually being eroded by advancing Russian troops, the newspaper writes, recalling that Russia has also recaptured most of the village of Roboty-Ni in the Melitopol direction. All of last summer's gains are slowly returning to Russian control, the article says. The newspaper also writes that Russian troops are slowly advancing toward the key highway from Pokrovsk to Konstantinivka. If Russian troops reach this road, Ukrainian military operations in the east of Donetsk region will be seriously hampered. Cities linked by the road and crucial to the defense of the region will have to be supplied by alternative, less practical routes. In particular, blocking the road will lead to further isolation of the city of Chasiv Yar, the article says. At the same time, not everything is so gloomy for the Ukrainian armed forces, since they were able to stop Russia's advance in the Kharkiv region. The strategy worked, in which the Ukrainian army abandoned elite brigades and slowly retreated to more fortified positions. As for the loss of Krinky in the Kherson direction, the Deep State Telegram channel wrote today that we have already publicly said more than once that we are expecting an official announcement about the situation there. And as always happens, the silence of officials leads to the fact that this space will be occupied by someone else. In this case, it is an anonymous employee of the general staff in the Ukrainian media, writes Deep State. I note that on May 23, a soldier of the 24th Assault Brigade, Adar, said that the Ukrainian armed forces had left Krinky. Ours left Krinky, advanced and consolidated in another, safer place on the eastern bank. There is nowhere to retreat. They recaptured new territory and left, he wrote then. At the same time, this information was officially denied. Well, we are waiting for official data about Krinky. Meanwhile, Russia is already actively preparing for the appearance of F-16 fighters on the front. The Russian Defense Ministry promises the Russian military 15 million rubles, which is about $170,000, for the first downing of these fighters in Ukraine. Let me remind you that according to Bloomberg, Ukraine expects to receive only 6 F-16 aircraft from Western partners by the end of the summer, and 20 in total by the end of the year, despite the fact that Zelensky stated the need for 128 aircraft. Obviously, such a number of aircraft will not allow to change the situation on the front in any way. Friends, this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.